Okay, so especially since I'm not going to be in the room with you, I wanted to give you a little bit more guidance on starting on Lab 8. I think it's a little bit hard to understand what's going on without a little bit more guidance. So I'm going to do a little bit more filling in at the beginning here, and then I'm going to show you like how it runs when it's done. And I think you should be able to manage what's left. So we'll see. So some of the stuff that was left out before, I went over all this part up here first, but I think this part of this comment where it says generate the names of your players using the provided random names array. What you want to do is use the generate player names method to create an array based on however many. Notice that once you get the user input here, whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up through 20, right? That's the size of your array. That's how many players you have. So you pass that number as an argument to generate player names. And what that's going to do is it's going to select random names from that array up there and populate a new string array. It's going to be that particular size right there. This, I don't know if I pointed this out before, this is just a dummy to make sure your program runs from the beginning. This is not what you're going to return. What you are going to return is an array of strings that has those names in it. So that's why when you go up here, you say string array players variable. It's going to get the array reference that's returned from this method. So I went ahead and filled this in. You didn't have this string or players array before. Same thing with this. It does something similar. You create a variable that can have a reference to an integer array, and the way you build this array, think of both of these, you're building arrays with these methods. You're going to pass the players the array of strings that you randomly selected up there for however many players, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. You're going to pass that array to input scores, and it's going to create a new integer array that you will supply the scores for each of those players. So it'll go through each player, it'll go through each string in the string array of players and say, hey, what's the score for John? And you say what the score for John is using a scanner, right? And it'll put it in, say John's the first player. Your new array of integers is going to be, score sub-0 gets whatever you put in for John, and so on, until you're done going through a loop of all the array of strings that are players. When that's done, you'll have a second array, a parallel array of integers that will have the score for each one of those players. And you return that new array. Again, this is a dummy value. What you really return will be an array of integers that has the scores for each of the players, a parallel array. And that will go here. And then this next one, you just send this array as an argument and this array as an argument to pretty much it's going to be a for loop, right? It's going to go through both arrays in parallel and print out in a nice way, right? So-and-so player has this score. That's all it does. I don't know why I have this twice. It should be here twice. So, and the last thing you'll do is print statistics. I would just leave this commented out until you're ready, and you'll have to go down and you'll have to do the statistics here. So remember, I didn't really go over this, but the way to do this is have an integer variable called max, set it equal to the first thing in the array, and then go through the array looking for something that's bigger than max. If something's bigger, then you have a new max. And then you return that max value. Same with min, except the other way around. The mean, you know how to do this from the array videos if you watched them. And this is the only one where you'd have to think a little bit more, but you have to get the difference between the score. So you have to compute the mean first, right? And you should just use this use get mean score inside of this. Get the mean, find out how far each score is from that, square the difference, right? Add up all the squares of the differences, and then take the square root, something like that anyway. And that's how the standard deviation works. So that's the that's the last part of that. I might make another video showing how this runs. So until then.